Okay, let's now move on to our subject matter for this afternoon. Only one letter. Okay? Now, I'm going to discuss now what is all about tentative assessment or release. Okay? It is a case wherein the importer or wherein the assessment of the customs appraiser concern, okay, is disputed or contested by the importer. Meaning, there is a question raised by the importer regarding the assessment and computation of duties and taxes by the customs officer concerned. Okay, so therefore, if there would be an issue between the importer and the customs officer concerned regarding the correct amount of duties and taxes, the same case shall be referred to the BCRC. Meaning, BCRC will now make the necessary evaluation and determine who is correct, whether the declaration of the importer or whether the declaration or the findings of the customs officer concerned. So while it is being evaluated and reviewed by the Valuation and Classification Review Committee, no release of shipment shall be allowed until such time that the issue has been resolved and decided by the BCRC. So, mag-aantay po ang customs appraiser at mag-aantay din po ang importer on the decision of the BCRC. Now, pending evaluation and review by the BCRC, the importer can avail or can obtain the release of the goods even though the issue or dispute is still pending with the BCRC. Now, while it is pending, the importer may ask for the release of the shipment in spite of the fact that the issue has not been yet resolved and decided by the BCRC. Now, in order that the BOC may allow the release of the shipment pending review and evaluation by the BCRC, the importer shall be required to put up a bond, either a cash bond or a guarantee or a surety, okay, on the amount of duties and taxes po as found by the customs appraiser. So, tingnan niyo po itong board, no? Para malaman niyo how much would be the amount of bond. As declared po, let's say is 1.5 million. As found, guys, nakikita niyo po ba yun sa board? Guys. Okay, the finding is, let's say, 1.5 or 1.8 million. There is a difference between what has been declared and what has been found by the customs appraiser. So as declared po, 1.5 po ang dapat bayaran duties and taxes. But as found, it should be, okay, 1.8. Whether this one should be followed depends now upon the resolution and review by the BCRC, the Valuation, Classification, and Review Committee. So yan po ang magiging issue. Ito po yung willing bayaran ng importer. Ito naman po yung willing to be collected by the customs officer concerned. So there is what? A difference of 300,000 pesos. Now, how come that there was an increase as found by the customs appraiser. From 1.5 naging 1.8. There are normally three causes of the increase. Number one, value. Number two, classification. Okay. Number two, the quantity as declared and quantity as found. And another issue that usually the subject of dispute is the certificate of origin. Ayaw tanggapin yung certificate of origin ng customs appraiser and as a result, magbabayad po ng duty yung importer. Kasi po, pag may certificate of origin po, normally po, exempted po ang importer sa payment ng customs duty if the shipment is covered by a certificate of origin. Wala po siyang babayarang duty, but magbabayad po siya ng VAT. However po, ayaw tanggapin ni customs appraiser yung certificate of origin. For reason, ayaw pong tanggapin. So therefore, if you were the importer at may certificate of origin ka, you will insist on not paying the duty because your shipment is covered by a certificate of origin. And if the certificate of origin is rejected by the customs appraiser, then therefore, magkakaroon po ng issue. Gusto ng importer, libre siya sa duty because of the certificate of origin. Ayaw tanggapin ng customs appraiser or officer yung certificate of origin. Therefore, the importer shall be required to pay the duty. That's one of the issue. Another issue is value po. Ito pong value na to, 1.5 is as declared po. However, when the value of the shipment is appraised and evaluated by the appraiser, tumaas po, umabot po ng 1.5 or 1.8 million ang dapat bayaran. There is a difference of 300,000. Assuming hindi naman po value ang naging issue. Ito po ang naging issue, classification. Ang declaration po dito is 5%. However, the findings of the customs officer concerned is 7%. Again, there is a difference of 2%. And in case this 5% is equivalent to 1.5 million duties and taxes, and this 7% is 1.8 million, meron pong issue na 300,000. Again, sabi ko nga po sa inyo, pag may issue sa value, sa classification, or certificate of origin, including the correct quantity, then the dispute or the issue shall be referred to a body. That body that I am referring to is the Valuation Classification Review Committee. Sila po ang magdi-decide, sila po ang magro-rule kung sino po ang tama. Is it the importer or is it the customs officer concerned? Now, while pending with the BCRC, so pag pending po, hindi pa nadedesisyonan ni BCRC, the shipment cannot be released. So ano po ang remedyo ni importer? If the importer needs the shipment immediately, kailangan niya yung shipment, kaya lang po nakapending sa BCRC. So therefore, under the CM3A, it provides for a remedy given to an importer who has a pending dispute or issue with the BOC. Yung po yung tinatawag na tentative release or tentative assessment of goods subject to dispute settlement. Yung po yung section 425. Later on, I will explain to you how much would be the amount of cash ban or guarantee or surety to be fostered by the importer. Ang willing bayaran po ng importer is 1.5. Ang willing naman po singilin ng customs officer is 1.8. So, magkakaroon po ng difference na 300,000. Tama po? Yan po yan. Now, In case the case is pending with the BCRC and the importer wants to release the shipment pending review and evaluation by the BCRC, the importer may write a letter addressed to the BOC. Okay? Addressed to the Commissioner of Customs. Okay? Or addressed to the District Collector of Customs. And normally po, sa Commissioner po, ina-address ang sulat. Asking now for the benefit of Section 425 or the so-called tentative assessment, temporary assessment. Now, that letter will not be given consideration by the Commissioner of Customs. Hindi niya papansinin ni Commissioner unless the importer guarantees the payment of 300,000 difference in case as found is correct. Maliwanag po, pagka po nagdesisyon si BCRC at sinabi pong tama si customs appraiser, at least po yung 300 siguradong babayaran ni Mr. Importer even though the release or the shipment was already released from the BOC. So 1.5 babayaran mo pero mag-deposit ka ng 300,000 in case the BCRC decides in favor of the customs officer, then yung 300,000 na yun, kukunin ng BOC kasi ibig sabihin po nun, tama ang customs officer. Now, if the importer is correct and BCRC decided in favor of the importer, so tama po yung 1.5 na binayaran niya. However, yung 300,000 po, cash ban or surety po, ibabalik ng BOC kay importer. Kasi po, tama siya. So, yun po yung mechanics ng cash ban po. Whoever wins, whoever has or whoever receives a favorable decision from the BCRC gets the surety or cash ban of 300,000. So, kung nanalo po si customs appraiser, so, tama po yung 1.8. Nagbayad ka ng 1.5, yung 300,000 will now be collected or will now be secured or will now be in favor or will now be for the account of the BOC kasi tama po yung customs officer. Ngayon, pag sinabi naman po ng BCRC, tama si importer, 1.5 lang yung dapat niyang bayaran at nabayaran niya na, kaya lang po, nakapending yung 300,000, ibabalik naman po ng BOC kay importer. Yung 300,000 po. Ms. Gabionsa, pakibasa nga yung 425. Okay, stop from there, stop from there. Now, the duties and taxes initially assessed when it is contested and disputed, then the assessment shall be only tentative, meaning temporary. In other words, class, when the importer contests or disputes the assessment of the customs appraiser concerned regarding this 1.8, then the assessment shall be only considered as an initial assessment, meaning the assessment shall not be yet final. It is only tentative po. Continue. So therefore, the assessment shall only become final after it has been readjusted or there is already a readjustment. What does it mean? There is already a decision by the BCRC. Meaning, if there is already a decision by the BCRC, that initial assessment shall now be readjusted. So pag tama po si importer sa 1.5 million na dapat niyang bayaran, no more adjustment. Kasi po, tama po siya. But if the BCRC decides in favor of the customs officer or customs appraiser concerned, and the correct amount of duties and taxes to be paid is not 1.5 but 1.8, either based on correct valuation, correct classification, or the rejection of the certificate of origin or other issues. Doon. Ang tawag po doon, i-adjust po yung pinakasad na bayaran mo na ito, dapat ang bayaran mo is 1.8. Since meron pong cash ban, hindi na po hahabulin ni BOC si importer to pay for additional 300,000 kasi po nakadeposito na po yon. While nakadeposito na po yung pera or security with the BOC while the case is being reviewed and heard by the BCRC. Ibig sabihin po niyan, safe na safe ang BOC. Kung manalo ang BOC, at least hindi na siya maghahabol. Hindi na siya pupunta si BOC hindi na pupunta sa importer para maningil ng 300,000. Kasi po hawak niya na. Yun po yung tinatawag na cash ban. Now, in case na matalo naman si customs appraiser, tama po yung 1.5, ibabalik naman po ng BOC yan sa kanya. Kasi po, tama ang declaration. Kukunin lang po yan, yung 300,000 na deposito, in case the BCRC decides in favor of the customs officer concerned. Tama po yung appraiser. So, hindi na po maniningil ng additional si BOC from the importer because it's already in their hands. Yung pong 300,000, nakadeposito po na sa BOC. Pag natalo po ang BOC, ibabalik po naman yun. Pag nanalo, wala nang hahabulin kay importer kasi po meron silang hawak. Yan po ang purpose ng cash ban. The District Collector of Customs, so tatlo pong madalas na issue. Actually, dito hindi masyadong nagkaka-issue. Dito madalas nagkakaroon ng issue. Correct value, value as declared versus value as found, classification or rate of duty as declared, and classification or tariff heading as found. Ito po, meron pong issue din dyan. Rejection of the certificate of origin. Kasi po, pagka may certificate of origin po, sabi ko nga po sa inyo, like I said before, if the shipment is covered by a certificate of origin and the certificate of origin has been accepted by the Bureau of Customs, the importer shall not be required to pay the duty, only the value-added tax. But if the certificate of origin has been disputed or contested and rejected by the customs officer, then magkakaroon po ng issue. Pagbabayarin po si importer ni customs officer ng customs duty. Unlike pagka po walang issue sa certificate of origin, tinanggap po yan, libre po si importer sa duty, ba't lang po mabayaran niya. Pero pag nireject po ng customs officer yung certificate of origin, magkakaroon po ng problema. Pagbabayarin po si importer ng customs duty and value-added tax. Okay? So, the District Collector of Customs may allow the release of the imported goods under tentative assessment or tentative release upon the posting of the security. So, ang gusto lang ng importer bayaran, 1.5. Ang findings ng customs officer or customs appraiser is 1.8. There is a difference. So now, under section 425, if you were the importer and you want to release the shipment from the BOC while it is pending with the BCRC, then the importer may ask for tentative release address to the Commissioner of Customs. Then, before the Commissioner of Customs may allow the tentative release of the goods pending review by the BCRC, okay, the District Collector of Customs shall require the importer to post a security or cash ban equivalent to the difference between as declared and as found po. That is 300,000. Ito po, illustration lang po ito. Now, so, tentative assessment, the word tentative means what? Temporary assessment. It becomes only final when there is already a readjustment after a decision of the BCRC has been made. Maaring tama si si importer sa 1.5 or maaring tama si customs officer as found po. So, maari pong dalawa, sabi ko nga po sa inyo, whenever BCRC decides, someone would be losing and someone would be winning. Pag nanalo po ang BC or nanalo po ang customs officer, magkakaroon po ng readjustment. Okay? Pag nanalo naman po ang customs ay importer po, magkakaroon din po ng adjustment from 1.8 as initially assessed, ibaba po ng 1.5 kasi tama po si importer. Pero pag tama po naman si customs officer, from 1.5 po, aakit po ng 1.8. Sure na pong makukolekta ng BOC yung difference na 300,000 because of the cash ban or security or surety put up by the importer regarding the tentative release of the shipment. So, yun po yan. Now, before the tentative release or tentative assessment of goods may be allowed by the Bureau of Customs, there are 3 requirements po. Number 1, pakilista niyo na po dyan para at least alam ninyo, no? Tentative release shall be only allowed if the shipment is not covered by an alert order. In other words, class, a tentative assessment or tentative release of goods cannot be or shall not be approved by the BOC if the shipment is covered by an alert order. Alam niyo naman siguro what is an alert order. It is a written order issued by the customs officer, approved and signed by the customs commissioner for possible violation or non-compliance of the CMTA provision based on derogatory information. So if the shipment that is requested for a tentative assessment or release is the subject of an alert order, the BOC will not approve the request for tentative assessment. Kasi po naka-hold ka eh. Hindi ka pwedeng palabasin because the shipment is subject to an alert order. Hindi po pagbibigyan ng BOC ang tentative assessment and release. Why? Because the shipment is being suspected that it has violated the CMPA provisions. Number 2, if the shipment has violated the CMTA provision, let's say, meron pong either MUM. What is MUM, Ms. Gutierrez? What does MUM stand for, Ms. Gutierrez? Ano yung MUM? So, dito, hindi ka papayagan if the shipment is covered by an alert order. Second, kung hindi naman alert order yung shipment mo, but there is a violation, and the possible violation is MUM. M stands for misclassification. U stands for undervaluation. And another M stands for misdeclaration po. If the shipment that is being requested for tentative assessment and release is subject of a misclassification or undervaluation or misdeclaration issue, again, the request for tentative assessment shall not be allowed. Remember that. Ibig sabihin po niyan, if the shipment is subject of an alert order, no tentative release. If the shipment has violated either MUM, again, the tentative assessment request shall be rejected and shall be disapproved or shall not be allowed by the BOC. Another, no cash ban. O yan. Or no security. O yan. Magkano ang gustong bayaran ng BOC ng importer? 1.5. Tama ba, Mr. Karandang? Mr. Karandang. Magkano ang gusto ng customs officer? So, anong difference? 300,000. Now, ganito po, no? Nagkaroon po ng issue sa value, hindi naman po alert order. Yung value po, hindi naman covered ng MUM. Or nagkaroon ng issue sa C, classification, hindi naman po covered ng MUM. Or nagkaroon po ng rejection sa Certificate of Origin. As a result, tumaas po yun dapat bayaran from 1.5 to 1.8. Now, Mr. Karandang, there was an issue regarding value or classification. And the customs officer or customs appraiser's finding is 1.8. Now, if you were the BOC, wala naman pong alert order, wala naman pong possible violation. However, the importer is not willing to pose the cash ban or surety equivalent to the difference between as declared and as found. Again, the BOC will not allow the release or tentative release and assessment. Tentative assessment and release of goods. Papayag lang ako kung ako ang BOC, sabi mo, hindi naman to alert order shipment eh. Hindi naman to in violation of the CM3A provision. However, the importer is not willing to pose the difference. 300,000. Again, the BOC shall reject the request for tentative assessment. In other words, class, these three conditions must be complied with before a tentative assessment and release of goods may be allowed by the BOC. The shipment should not be the subject of an alert order. The shipment should have not violated any provisions of the CMTA. And last requirement or condition is that the importer is willing to pose a ban, a cash ban, or a surety ban equivalent to the difference between as declared and as found po. Yan po ang tatlong kondisyones before a tentative assessment or release and release may be allowed by the BOC. Is there any question so far? Mr. Karandang, do you have any question? Naintindihan ba? Ibig sabihin po niyan, a tentative assessment is not a matter of right. It is only a matter of privilege. It becomes only a matter of right when the importer has complied with 1, 2, and 3. Hindi po siya karapatan. It will always depend upon the BOC whether they will allow the tentative assessment and release of the goods. And before the BOC, kumbaga yan, class, sabi ko nga sa inyo, not all requests for tentative assessment are approved. There are some instances that the tentative assessment request is denied. Why? Because the shipment is the subject of an alert order. Kaya po ina-alert yan, hindi ka palalabasin. Kahit na willing kang mag-post ng ban, as long the shipment is the subject of an alert order, then your request for tentative assessment shall be denied, shall be disapproved, or shall be rejected. Wala naman pong alert order, kaya lang po, the shipment is a subject of MUM, a violation of a CMTA provision, particularly Section 1400. Pag may violation po, hindi ka pababayaang makalabas under tentative assessment and release. Now, your shipment is not covered by an alert order, not not in violation of the CMTA provision. However, the importer is not willing to post the difference between as declared and as found. Again, the BOC will not allow the tentative assessment and release of goods. So yung 30 kondisyon na yan, kailangan po ma-meet. First two condition, wala po siyang alert order. Second condition, there was no violation. Number 3, the importer is willing to post a ban between the difference as declared and as found. So wala nga po yung 1 and 2. Kaya lang po, hindi naman po willing mag-post ng ban si importer. Again, the request for tentative assessment shall not be allowed. Yan po ang mechanics at rule ng tentative assessment. Now, 23 po, Miss Gutierrez. Number 23, please. Okay. Now, with respect to issues, these are the common issues. Number 1, classification. Mr. Karandang, ano po ang issue sa classification? Mas mataas po yung findings ng appraiser kesa sa declared rate of duty ng importer. Yes po. So, pagka ang findings po, 5% ang dapat na customs rate of duty at ang declaration po, 5% din po, then there is no issue. Right, Mr. Karandang? But if the declaration is 5% and the findings of the customs appraiser is 7%, is there an issue? Yes po, yung 2% po na difference, issue po yan. Dadalhin po sa BCRC yan. Value po, mas mababa ang naideklara compared to what is found by the customs officer. Is that an issue? Mr. Karandang? Meron bang issue? Pag mas mababa po as declared at mas mataas po ang as found, natural po, pag nagalaw po yung dutiable value as declared at tumaas po as found, sigurado pong magbabago ang duty, right? At magbabago rin ang landed cost, tama ba? Magbabago rin bang VAT? Yes, kasi po pagka tumaas po ang dutiable value from as declared to as found, sigurado pong magbabago ang computation. Tama po ba? Magbabago ang customs duty, magbabago ang bank charge, magbabago ang brokerage fee po. Lahat po yan magagalaw. Pag nagalaw po yan, siguradong mababago din po ang landed cost. Now, if there would be an increase in the landed cost by reason of increase in the dutiable value, definitely, there would be also increase in the value-added tax. Right, Mr. Karandang? Sigurado po yan. Kaya po, yan po ang nangyayari. Kaya po, pagka nagdesisyon na po si BCRC at ikinorek na po yung tama po si customs appraiser, ang tawag po doon sa correction na yon, that is called what? Readjustment po. O, yung tentative po, magiging final na po. Yung 300,000 na kulang mo, kukunin na po ng Bureau of Customs. And your assessment is no longer tentative, but it will become final after the BOC has already collected and taken the 300,000 deposit po. Yan po yan. Maliwanag? So therefore, ano po ang madalas issue? Classification, valuation, rules of origin, and other issue po. Declaration, quantity po. Minsan nagkakaroon po ng diferensya. Ang sabi po ni Mr. Importer, 11 lang po ang laman. Pagdating po sa findings ng examiner and appraiser, nakita nila 13 ang laman. Is there an issue? Yes. Issue on quantity as declared and quantity as found. Did you get it, Mr. Carandang, Ms. Gutierrez? What about you, Ms. Gabyonsa? What about you, Ms. Bulaon? Yun po yung mga issue. Declaration po. So, kadalasan pong issue dyan is value. Classification, certificate of origin. Anong issue sa certificate of origin, Mr. Carandang? Hindi po. Anong issue po madalas? Okay. The importer wants exemption from duty by reason of certificate of origin. Now, on the other hand, the customs officer rejects the certificate of origin. In other words, when it is rejected or when the CO is rejected, then the BOC customs officer would like to collect or wants to collect customs duty. Issue po yan. Ms. Gutierrez, next issue. Yes, declaration as to quantity po. As to quantity, as to volume po. Another issue is freight, right? Anong issue dito sa freight, Ms. Gutierrez? Mas mababa yung naideklara and mas mataas as what is found. Maliwanag po? Mr. Karandang, pag nagbago ba ang freight as declared and it was increased as found, would there be an effect in the computation of duty? Mr. Karandang, definitely there would be. Kasi po, ang dutiable value po consists of what? The FOB, insurance, and freight. Pagka nagbago po at pagka po yung dineclare na freight, mababa po at mas mataas yung findings, there would be a chain reaction. Magbabago po yung duty or customs duty because the dutiable value has been increased, right? Tama po ba? Yan po yan. Now, insurance po, ang ginamit po ng importer, mababa po. At ang findings po ng customs officer, mas mataas. Again, the dutiable value is affected, right? Sa value naman po, ang idineklara po ng importer, mas mababa po sa findings ng appraiser. Again, there would be a chain reaction or there would be an effect of that increase of value as declared and value as found. Magkakaroon po ng pagbabago. Saan po? Sa dutiable value po. Wala naman pong issue sa freight, wala naman pong issue sa insurance, wala naman pong issue sa value. However, the rate of duty as declared is 5% and the findings of the customs officer concerned is 7%. Again, would there be an effect? Mr. Karandang? Yes, definitely. Ano magbabago? Yung dutiable value po hindi magagalaw, pero magbabago po ang customs duty. So, from customs duty as declared, at tama po ang customs officer, ang susundin po yung customs officer finding on the duty. Kung 5% po dineklara ni importer, 7% ang findings ni customs officer, so 5% ang gagamitin. So magbabago ngayon yung customs duty mo sa landed cost, right? Mr. Karandang? Pag nagbago po yung customs duty dun sa landed cost composition ninyo, magbabago ba yung total landed cost mo? Yes po, kasi po nagbago po yung customs duty. Tumaas po, kaya tataas din po ang landed cost. Pag tumaas po yung landed cost, from as declared to as found, there would be also a change in the value-added tax, right, Mr. Karandang? Yes, so yan po ang effect niyan. Kaya po, pagka nagkakaroon po ng issue, okay, regarding valuation, classification, rejection of the certificate of origin, and other issues on declaration, freight, and insurance, okay, it will be brought by the customs officer and the importer to the BCRC and let the BCRC decide who is correct, okay, as declared or as found po. Sila po ang magsasabi kung sino po ang tama sa dalawa. Okay, so while the case is being heard and pending with the BCRC, hindi pa nadidesisyonan, okay, the importer may ask for a tentative assessment and release of the goods. However, sabi ko nga po sa inyo, before the BOC may, shall approve the tentative assessment and release, the importer has to prove that the shipment is not the subject of an alert order or the shipment has not violated any of the CMTA provision specifically on the MUM. And number 3 po, the importer applying for a tentative assessment and release of goods should be posting a bond equivalent to the difference between as found and as declared. Maliwanag po? Maliwanag po? Okay, next, Miss Manabat, 24 please. Miss Manabat, you. Miss Manabat. Ba, okay ah. So, 24 please. Miss Manabat. Sandali lang po, sandali lang po, sandali lang, Miss Manabat. So, si importer po, through its customs broker, nagkita po sa formal entry division. Formal entry division, PED po yan. Sa formal entry division po, ang tao po doon, it's either customs examiner and customs appraiser. Yung pong customs appraiser ang kumwestiyon sa value or sa classification or rejected the certificate of origin. So nagkita po yung dalawa and the importer is insisting on 1.5 million while the customs appraiser is insisting on 1.8 million. So, ikaw ba Mr. Karandang, kung tingin mo tama ka, ipaglalaban mo ba? Kung ikaw ang importer, you feel that your declaration is correct, would you fight for it? Yes, of course. Ha? Ano, malaki difference. Now, if you're the customs appraiser concerned and you feel that you are also correct, would you fight it? Would you fight it against the importer? Would you insist your findings? So ngayon, si Gabyonsa yung importer, si Mr. Karandang yung appraiser. Hindi sila magkasundo. Saan dadalhin yan? Sa BCRC po. And BCRC shall now conduct the investigation and hearing after the customs appraiser or the appraiser section of the formal entry division. Kasi po, kinukontest ni Gabyonsa at ini-insist naman ni appraiser Karandang. So, dadalhin po yan sa BCRC. Sino ba magpapadala? Appraiser section of the formal entry division. Dadalhin po yan sa BCRC. At sila po ang mag-iimbestiga. They will, or the BCRC shall conduct the necessary investigation and hearing. And the BCRC shall also make the following resolution, findings, and recommendation. Kung sino po ang tama. Maliwanag po. Kanino po dadalhin yan? Kay district po. Okay? Hanggang umabot sa Commissioner of Customs para malaman kung sino ang tama po. In other words, class, BCRC is a group of customs official. Okay? Customs official who will conduct the necessary investigation and hearing and who shall also make the necessary resolution, findings, and recommendation as to which amount is correct, as declared, or as bound. Mr. Karandang, sino po, what consists or what is the composition of BCRC? It is consists of customs official. Si Miss Gabionsa ang importer. Si Miss Gutierrez ang appraiser. Si Miss Gutierrez is an employee of the BOC, right? Mr. Karandang, tama po ba? BCRC members are also employees of the officials of the BOC, right? Now, sino importer? If you were Miss Gabionsa and you are in a hearing in the BCRC, anong pakiramdam mo? Would there be a fair resolution of the case? Kaya po yan po ang, kaya po, if you were the importer, if you were in the shoes of Miss Gabionsa, you will feel that parang hindi yata tama. Yung kalabang ko, taga Bureau of Customs, tama ba Mr. Karandang? At bang magdidesisyon, Bureau of Customs pa rin, di ba? How would you feel? Well, you will feel this is unfair. This is bias, right? Kasi ikaw lang mag-isa, kalaban mo. Not necessarily, tandaan nyo to guys, no. Although BCRC consists of BOC official, it does not necessarily mean that when it renders a ruling, resolution, or recommendation, it will favor the customs officer or appraiser. Patas po yan. Patas po yan. Now, in case you feel or the importer feel that the decision is biased and unfair, of course, hindi favorable sa importer. Do you have a remedy as an importer? Yes po, pwede po kayong gumamit ng Section 1106 po. Protest po. Ibig sabihin po niyan, kung tingin nyo po naging bias ang BCRC and you feel that your declaration is really correct, then you can fight all out hanggang makarating kayo sa CTA at makarating kayo hanggang sa Supreme Court po. Maliwanag po. So in other words, class, kahit na sabihin mo po ang BCRC is composed of customs official and the one questioning your declaration is also a customs official, para bang 1 against 2, right? Pero hindi po totoo yan. BCRC are impartial and fair po pag nag-decide po. As long the importer can prove that his or her declaration is correct, then the BCRC would render a decision in favor of the importer. But if the appraiser can prove that the declaration of the importer is incorrect, then the BCRC would decide in favor of the customs officer. Now, whatever happens po, kung mangyari po that the importer feels that there was unfair or biased decision, it does not necessarily mean that it ends there. Or it does not necessarily mean that the importer is not or is left without other remedy. Pwede po siya mag-avail ng Section 1106, protest po. Up to the point na makarating po yung kaso sa Court of Tax Appeal and up to the point na makarating sa Supreme Court kung talagang tama ka po. Maliwanag? Now, with respect to the 300,000 pesos difference, these are the following are the securities acceptable. Ito lang po ang tinatanggap po ng Bureau of Customs to guarantee the difference po. To guarantee the payment between as declared and as found. Number 1 po, cash bond. Number 2 po, manager's check. Or a surety bond, and therefore, yung cash bond, manager's check, or surety po should be always equivalent to the difference po. Hindi po pwedeng bumaba doon sa 300,000. Pag lumagpas po, it's alright. Tatanggapin po ng BOC yan. Pero pag kulang po, hindi po tatanggapin. So the amount of cash ban or manager's check or surety bond should be always equivalent to the difference between as declared and as found po. No more. Pwede pong sumobra, kasalanan na po ng importer yan. Pagka po kinulang, hindi po tatanggapin ng BOC. And pag hindi po tinanggap, na kulang po yung cash ban, then the tentative assessment request shall not be approved. Shall be disapproved po. Next please, 26. Ms. Bellarmino. Ms. Bellarmino. Yes? No. 26 na po tayo. Yes? Sample po ng request for tentative assessment po. Annex H na po tayo. Tama ba, Mr. Karandang? Okay. So, teka muna po. Gusto ko po marinig muna yung importer's letterhead mo kasi po importers po ang gagawa nito. So, therefore, it is the importer who would be sending the letter, and therefore it is the importer's letterhead will be used in writing or sending the letter, hindi po customs broker. Ang customs broker po ang magdadala ng sulat sa BOC. But in preparing the letter, it is to be prepared by the importer. And if it is the importer, then therefore it is the importer's letterhead will be used. Klaro guys? Klaro po? Yes, letter preparation po. Letter number 8 po. Actual date po. Then, after date po, address it to the Commissioner of Customs, Bureau of Customs, Port Area, Manila. Subject po. Subject colon, then, what is your subject matter, Ms. Gabyonsa? On shipment of goods declaration number. Yung pong goods declaration number, ako po ang magbibigay. Registry number, ako rin po ang magbibigay sa problem. Bill of lading or airway bill number. Pag ginamit yung bill of lading, lalagyan mo ba ng slash airway bill number, Mr. Karandang? It's either of the two. Pag ginamit mo ang bill of lading, remove airway bill. When you use airway bill number, remove bill of lading. Maliwanag po? Now, ako hindi magbibigay ng bill of lading and airway bill number. Then, ship via name of vessel or name of aircraft. Pag ginamit mo yung name of vessel, tatanggalin mo na yung name of aircraft. Wala ka na ilalagay doon. Hindi naman pwede ba pagsabayin, Ms. Gabyonsa, yung isang shipment sabay na isasakay sa aeroplano at barko, Ms. Gabyonsa? Imposible ba or posible? Imposible po. Kasi po, pag ginamit mo barko, barko lang. Alangan naman yung kalahati ng katawan mo, nakasakay doon sa barko, yung kalahating katawan mo, nakasakay sa aeroplano. Tama ba, Ms. Gabyonsa? Pangit tignan nun. Para ka manananggal nun. Tama? Consign to name of importer po. Kung sino po yung letterhead na ginamit, yun po magiging name of importer. Name. Maliwanag? Ms. Garcia. Carol. Yes. I will be giving it to you in the problem. Maliwanag, Ms. Gutierrez? Maliwanag, Mr. Karandang? Guys, Mr. Karandang, maliwanag po ba? Yan. Yes kayo ng yes. Baka pag nandyan na yung problem, hindi nyo na alam kung paano gagawin. Maliwanag. Baka pagdating pa lang sa letterhead, ano ba ang gagamitin dito? Letterhead ba ng customs broker or letterhead po ng informer? Mr. Karandang, do you have any questions so far? Okay, attention. Kanino mo i-attention? Although, the address or the letter is addressed to the Commissioner of Customs, it is to be addressed actually to the District Collector of Customs. Let's say kung ang problema, ang issue on the tentative assessment is with Clark, then it is to be addressed to the District Collector of Clark Customs. Claro, guys? If it is, if the issue is with the Port of Subic, then Port of Subic District Collector. Kung sa Port of Manila, Port of Manila. Kung MICP, MICP. Kung NAIA po, NAIA po. Maliwanag po ba? Again, I will indicate the name of the district collector and the customs district in which the letter request for tentative assessment is to be sent. Klaro, guys? Klaro po? Dear collector, kama po, nakalagay po dyan, nakalagay po yung, lalagay mo dyan, dear collector, yung apelido na lang po ni collector. Maliwanag? Maliwanag, Miss Gabiansa. Kaya po kung ang collector po is si Arvin Troy Karandang, dear collector Karandang. Dear collector Gutierrez po. Yan po ang ilalagay. Huwag niyong ilalagay yung buong pangalan po. Maliwanag, Gabiansa? Okay, next. Yan. Mr. Karandang, pakibasa po. Okay, stop from there, Mr. Karandang. Anong issue? Is it an issue on valuation or classification? Okay, tama po ba? Yes po, pumapasok po doon sa letter C po. Tama po ba? Mr. Karandang, Ms. Gabianza, Ms. Gutierrez? Okay, next, Gis. Next sentence, please. Is my illustration a while ago in accordance with the letter? Tama, di ba, Mr. Karandang? Ano pong issue? Classification. What has been declared is 5%, and what has been found is 7%. So there is what? An issue. Which one is correct? 5% or 7%? And therefore, if there is an issue, submit the same to the BCRC. Next paragraph, please. Tama po ba yung explanation ko kanina, Mr. Karandang? Tama po ba? Nagpipit ba yung illustration ko kanina doon sa second paragraph, Mr. Karandang? Saktong-sakto, tama po ba? Ms. Gutierrez, tama po ba yung explanation at illustration ko a while ago? Nagkakaintindihan ba naman tayo? Nakapending at kailangan yung shipment. Tama po ba? And the purpose of requesting the tentative assessment and release is to prevent what? Accumulation of storage charges and to prevent the delay in the release of goods. That will prevent the manufacturing operation of the importer. Tama po ba? Okay, so ano pong remedyo? Sinite ko ba yung, did I cite or have I cited or did I cite the particular provision that I am availing of? Yes, sinite ko po ang section 425 po. Yun po yung basis ko in asking for the tentative assessment and release. Tama ba, Ms. Gabianza? Nasa banggit ba? Kaya po kailangan, importante, ganyan po. Okay, next please. Tama po ba yung sinabi ko sa inyo? AO, B, and no issue or no cash ban. Tama po ba? Miss Gabionsa, ang sabi ko, hindi po siya covered ng alert order. And the shipment has not violated the CMTA provisions. And the importer is willing to pose what? A cash ban equivalent to the difference between as declared and as assessed or as found. Tama, Ms. Gabionsa? Okay. Next paragraph, Mr. Karandang. Then, now, District Collector Gabionsa, natanggap po itong sulat na to. Would you approve it? Yes, because the importer is asking for it. And the importer has complied with the what? With the condition set forth by the existing rules and regulation that the shipment is not the subject of an alert order, that the shipment has not violated any of the CMTA provision, and the importer is willing to pose a cash ban, manager's check, or other security equivalent to the difference. Now, if all the requirements, basis po, under second paragraph, ano po yung reason, bakit ka nagre-request ng tentative assessment, and in the first paragraph, bakit po nagkaroon ng problema, lahat po ng kailangan ng commissioner nandyan. Lahat po ng all the information required by the district collector are there. So therefore, if you were the district collector of customs, most likely you will approve the request for tentative assessment. Maliwanag po? Respectfully yours, hindi po BTY ha. Respectfully yours, comma. Then name of importer plus his or her position. Klaro guys? Now, baka tanungin nyo ako, sir, pwede ba namin gayahin tong sulat mo? Pwede, subukan nyo lang. Okay? Now, siyempre, hindi ko gagamitin yung classification issue. I would be using another issue. Maliwanag? Maliwanag po. Again, what are the issues in tentative assessment, Mr. Karandang? Yes? Okay, so those are the common issues. And what are the conditions, Mr. Karandang? Conditions. Okay. Yes. Number 2. Number 3. Okay. Ms. Gabianza, repeat what Mr. Karandang has said. The following ay nako, Diyos ko. Hindi, gusto ko yung the following are the common issues in tentative assessment. Hindi for, in. Certificate of origin, hindi rules. Okay, next please. The following are the conditions. No, pinagsasabi mo. The shipment is not subject or covered by an alert order. Yes? The shipment has not violated. Ayos ako, may tagadugtong ka lang ah. Ano? Equivalent to. Okay, Miss Gutierrez, you? Okay. Very good, very good. Okay. Is willing. Equivalent to. Equivalent to the as declared and as found. Miss Gabianza, pakiulit mo nga. The following are the conditions before tentative assessment or release may be allowed. Is not po, is not. Yes. Miss Bellarmino, you. The following po. Tentative assessment or release po. Tentative assessment and or release. Yes. Yes. O, anong sinasabi mo? Uulitin uli ni Gabyonsa yan pag hindi mo natapos yan. Ano daw yon? Ano daw yon, Miss Gabyonsa? Pakisabi mo nga sa kanya. Ulitin mo, Gabyonsa. Is not covered. Hindi, si Miss Bellarmino ang gusto ko marinig eh. Okay, Miss Bellarmino. Si Miss Magsino. Miss Magsino, I would like to hear your voice. Miss Magsino. Aba, okay wala akong narinig Miss Magsino, 70 ang recitation ni Miss Magsino. Sino ano nito? Wala ba si Miss Magsino? Di 70 sa recitation si Miss Magsino. Nandiyan ka pala. Okay, go, Miss Magsino. Tapos na? Tentative. Tentative assessment or release. Huwag niyong painitin ang ulo ko. Mainita ko, hindi pa ako nanananghalian. By an alert order po. Ano bang mga English yan? Kalabaw. If the shipment has not. If the shipment has not. Wala pong if. The shipment has not. Anong violating? Anong violating? Tama ba, Miss Gabionsa? Violating? Violated daw. Huwag kang tatawa-tawa, Miss Gabionsa. Nakakaano ka, ha? Tinatawanan ka, Miss Magsino, tinatawanan ka ni Miss Gabionsa. Tinatawanan ka, ano? Okay. Go. Hindi, naririnig ko, tumatawa ka eh. Okay, go, Miss Magsino. Any CMTA, hindi in any, ano ba ng mga English yun? Including its IRR po. Tama po ba? Number 3 po. The importer is willing to Gabionsa, pakitama mo yung number 3 niya. Gabionsa, the importer is willing to post a cash bond or security equivalent to the difference as found and as declared. Tama po. Kansino, you. Miss Cansino. Si Miss Cansino ba absent or ano? Wala ba si drop na ba? Who's in charge of the attendant? Andiyan pala si Miss Cansino. Hi. Go ahead. The following are the condition. The following are the condition for tentative assessment or release. The following are hindi po, the following are the conditions. Miss Gabionsa, pakitama mo nga ito si Cansino. before. Okay. Miss Cancino. The following are the conditions. Nainis na ako, Miss Cancino. Malapit na kitang, ay, nako. Kung meron lang akong hawak, pakiulit nga, Miss Gabionsa. Go. Miss Cancino. Are the conditions. Miss Gabionsa, pakiulit-ulit. Yes, Miss Cancino. Number one, is not covered. Shall ka eh. Gusto ko is eh. Ba, parang utang na loob ko pa yan ah. Ano daw, Miss Cabionsa, pakiulit, ano mo nga yun sa kanya. The shipment is not covered by an alert order. Next, Miss Cancino. Next. Miss Manabat, you. Pakilakas, hindi ko marinig. Mahina pa rin, lakasan mo. No, certificate po. Ulit sa simula. The shipment, walang if. The shipment lang po. Okay, Mr. Camacho. Go. Pakiulit mo nga. Pakiulit mo. Okay, Miss Alquiros, you. Yeah. Okay. Has not violated. Mr. De Jesus, you. Mr. De Jesus. Pakiulit mo nga, hindi ko maintindihan eh. Okay. Are the common. The following are the common issues. Pakiulit. Medyo choppy. Choppy. Ano daw? Anong intended? Wala akong sinasabing intended ah. Meron bang intended, Gabionsa? Paki pakisabi mo nga, paki-correct mo nga, Miss Gabionsa. Oh, Gutierrez, ikaw naman. Yes, pakisabi mo sa kanya kung paano ginagawa yung the following are in yun lang po. Okay, go. Hindi siya. Ikaw, Mr. Jesus. Okay, ayoko ng ganyang kausap, no. I don't want I don't ayoko makipag-usap sa ganyan, no. Alam niyo naman pinag-uusapan natin, Mr. Karandang, right? Ah, Carol Garcia. Oh, yes po rin. Ko. Miss Rowena Dizon, you. Miss Rowena Dizon. Oh, yes. Issues. Inda. Hindi porda. Pakiulit, hindi, pakiulit po, pakiulit po. Kung hindi, ulitin rin ni Miss Garcia yan. Issues! Anong violation? Anong violation? Baka valuation. Valuation po, hindi evaluation. Valuation po. Miss Gutierrez, wag kang tatawa. Miss Gutierrez, wag kang tatawa. Hindi, tumatawa ka eh. Miss Cancino, Miss Gabionsa, wag kang tatawa. Valuation po. Hindi po violation. Valuation po. Ano, no? Hindi po order. Other issues po. Hindi, napagkakarinig ko order eh. Bayan. Bayan. By an alert order po. Conditions po. Conditions po. Violated po. CMTA provisions po. Simulan mo sa umpisa uli. Simulan mo sa umpisa uli. Conditions po. For the tentative. Ay, ayoko ng ganyan. Mr. Castro, you. Yes? Equivalent to the difference Miss Abong? Miss Abong? Okay, Miss Abong? Ayoko magantay. Wala na? Has not, hindi does not. Has not po. Has not violated any CMTA provisions po. Okay, Miss Due. Anong intended? Anong intended pinagsasabi mo? Miss Gutierrez, intended ba? Ano? Is. Importer po kasi isa lang eh, is willing. Is willing. Hindi ko na rin alam kung kilala pa kita, Miss Due. Miss Lily? Miss Banana? Miss Banana? Miss Banana? Is Miss Banana absent? Miss Gamotea? Miss Gamotea, you. Sino? Okay, you, Miss Gamotea. Miss Due, paki-off mo muna yung sa'yo. Okay, go, Miss Gamotea. Miss Luna? Miss Lu... Ay, hindi. Lumagpas na siya. Si Miss Luna na po. Katanggal. Miss Katanggal. Katangal or Katanggal. Are you there? Miss Balyari. Tricia Garcia. As declared and as found. Walang as of. As declared and as found. Clear, Miss Garcia? Okay. Miss Gamotea, is Mr. Karandang still around? Mr. Karandang, are you there? Miss Gutierrez, Mr. Castro, Gamotea, Luna, Lily, and Gabionsa. Do you have any question so far? Karandang, you question, please. Mr. Karandang, do you have any question? Or question? So next meeting, that's Wednesday, right? I will be moving now on to section 400, right, Mr. Karandang? Okay, so therefore I have already discussed to you how many letters? 8 letters. And expect from me that I would be asking you to prepare a letters and I would be choosing out of the 8 letters. Did you get it, guys? Maliwanag po ba? Miss Gabionsa, Miss Abong, Gamotea, and Mr. Karandang. Maliwanag po ha, wala po tayong pag-uusapan dyan. Make sure, tama po ang gagamitin yung letterhead at tama po yung gagamitin yung sulat po. Maliwanag po? Maliwanag ha? Maliwanag tayo dyan. So next meeting, I will start from section 400. Ano yung susunod ko, Mr. Karandang? 400 up to? 400 up to 413. Maliwanag po ba? So guys, please start reading assignment, not sleeping assignment. Clear, guys? Clear, Miss Gabionsa, Miss Abong, Miss Garcia, and Miss Gutierrez. Okay, you're dismissed and see you again next meeting.